keep things moving as smoothly as we can. And like I said, hopefully December or January, we'll have the next leader and introduce to you guys. So just wanted to touch base with you. If you have any questions, it's my job. I'm happy to answer them. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Else have any questions for Molly?
Okay.
Very good. Well, we know how to get a hold of you if we do have questions.
Yes.
But thanks for stepping in and providing leadership during this period of void that we have at the library. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. I hope to see you at the library. So.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, we have 3 other items on the agenda, and I think we're going to go outside and do all of those. So let's round up the kids and get them outside. I think we need some towels here. Well, Jim's got one. Towels. No. Okay. Mike, what do we have under city administrator comments? Anything? Any updates on projects or? Matt's always got something. How's the sidewalk program going?
Great.
Good.
We've had a lot of face-to-face meetings with residents, just walking through and looking at deficiencies for sidewalks and determining property boundaries so that we can figure out who owns the panel. But we've done a great job at that. Steve and Brody from Public Works, our inspectors, have taken that and run with it and doing a great job. So we continue to get letters, and I would say that we're probably 75 or 80% of the folks have opted into the program. So doing good. Just a couple of other updates. We do have the citywide traffic study open house next Wednesday, June 28th, starting at 5:30 and ending at 6:30. So feel free to join us. That we'll be doing some intersection improvements or going over some of the intersection improvements throughout the community and looking at some of the traffic corridors. I would say that the study is about 85–90% complete. We'll take our final feedback from council as well as the residents and then compile that and come back in August for the final open house to deliver that study. And then one other quick update is the 107th Street. That is a joint project with Grimes. That got started today. They're milling off 2 inches of asphalt. They'll be doing some patching where we have a few bad spots in the roadway, full depth patching, and then they'll overlay that with 3 inches of asphalt back over the top. That got started today. Des Moines Asphalt is the contractor on that. So got that project underway, and I think that's all I've got for right now.
Council have any questions for Matt? Okay.
Thank you.
Chiefs, anything to report on? I can't tell who's behind you. Oh, that's John Schmitz.
I do have a quick question. Are we doing the Crown Point public meeting tomorrow night? That was the date that was circulated, but I've not seen a meeting invite on that, so.
Yeah, a couple of things. The meeting tomorrow night is at 6 o'clock.
I don't think a meeting invite has been circulated.
I think we've been waiting for them to get the Zoom component of it. So that's going to be sent out either this evening or.
That's fine, but it does make it harder.
Sure. Sure.
It'd be much nicer to have at least a hold for this type thing. So this is an FYI.
So it'll be tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. There will be a Zoom option. I do recommend actually coming, though. We'll have some displays that will be there that you can't get the same sense and feel for without being in person. So I do apologize that we've had a hard time really pinning down RDG for this meeting to get the final components to it. So I will tell you that most of the fabric is on the fences now as well for the pickleball courts. So you can really, if you come tomorrow evening, you can look out and really get a good definition of what the courts are going to look like. So a couple other projects, just to give you a quick update. We met with Bolton and Menk last Friday in regards to the Merle Hay canoe kayak launch. So here in the next month, you'll see a service agreement coming forward with the process for developing and designing that final phase of that. And next week, we'll be working with Snyder and Associates on putting together a service agreement for the dog park as well. So you'll see those coming forward soon too.
Okay, exciting stuff.
And I just circulated the meeting request, so you should all have that now.
Okay, thanks.
Nothing, Mike? Okay. Councilman Evans?
John, it's me, I tried to get you before you sat down. At Green Days, I'm sitting there and I lost count how many I'd had, but there was this child swinging off of one of the trees, and he had broke off. It had two main branches going up, and he broke off one of them. Is there anything we can put around those next Green Days so they don't? And then after he broke that one, he went to another one and started swinging off of
Oh,
it.
no.
Off the small trees in the great lawn. Yeah, we did find one that had a broken branch.
Yeah, just a heads up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the easiest option would be. I'd hate to put a fence around every tree. That would, the aesthetic view of that would not look
At
good.
least in that area, maybe.
Or maybe just for Green Days when we know there's a lot of people
Yeah.
around. Yeah.
'Cause
Just-
I didn't know what to do.
Yeah. We've always tried to keep it inside the trees, but with the expansion the desired expansion from Green Days, it kind of expanded outside and included those trees. So we'll look at that for next year and try to come up with some solutions.
Cool.
Those trees, I wish they'd grow up a little faster.
Yeah.
They've been in the ground for about 6 years now, and they don't seem to be growing nearly fast enough for
And
me.
it was.
They're very healthy, but
It
not
was a
growing
nice
fast.
one until he snapped it off.
yeah.
Better not be the one I planted.
That's a good thing you didn't see that.
I better not see that happen.
You'd take them by the earlobe.
And then
Well,
If he's lucky.
There was a lot of people there and still this happened.
yeah. And then the other thing I had was for some reason in my neighborhood, the dead ash trees are really prominent. And I don't know, do we tell, there's two right on 64th that I think are in the right of way.
We're getting around right now and doing a lot of removals of ash
'Cause I
trees.
didn't know if it was their responsibility.
If it's in the right of way, we are removing them. We gave them the option of treating them. A lot of them, what we found is they treated them the first year or two, and then they stopped. And we followed up over the winter time with all the permits to kind of get a sense of what people were doing and what direction to go. None of that had really good, accurate information, so we had to wait till middle of May to see what leafed out. So we had a good visual, and we've marked down all of our trees that we're going to be needing to remove over the next 2 or 3 years. But yeah, the last 2 years, you've seen a really stark reminder of what EAB can do to the ash trees. It went from fully foliaged, partial foliaged. In the last couple of years, you're seeing completely no leaf on them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I didn't mean to give you more work. I honestly thought that it was their responsibility. We just need to send a letter, but
If it's private, if it's in the private, it's their responsibility. And we've been working with community development on some of those as well, as to make sure that the nuisance trees that could pose a danger to the community, that those are taken care of as well. So
This might be an opportunity for an article from Janet
Yeah,
are you guys working on one?
it's time to put in a full education program again.
Yeah, I mean, the responsibility, if it falls over from their yard onto the right of way and hits somebody's parked car or someone, they'll be responsible. And, ash trees are brittle. An oak tree, when it dies, it's made of oak. Ash gets brittle and it'll fall over.
And you don't know where it's going to break. It can break almost anywhere, so.
Yeah, and the four that I know for sure are all a serious. If they go down, it's.
Yeah, and it's not just a private residence issue. If you drive around, you'll see a lot of businesses with dead oak or dead ash trees
The
as
old
well.
Maurice's warehouse area.
Yeah, the Johnston brothers, yeah.
Yeah, it's like full of dead ash trees.
I know Heidi Fresh has a dead ash near their gas station there, and so they're scattered throughout, so.
Cool.
Anything else, Councilman Evans?
Other than that, I thought Green Days was awesome, as usual. Everybody, our staff, everybody, police, fire, everybody that was there helping out.
Storm cut Saturday night a little bit short, but
Did the band ever start playing again? Yeah, that was too bad.
nope. So early fireworks,
Yep.
and then fireworks for longer, the natural kind.
And I attended the all-school reunion, and there are people that came back. One person hadn't been back in 45 years
Oh.
and came from California and could not believe Johnston. And she said, I feel like I'm home. And I said, well, that's our goal. And you're always welcome. And so she wants to make an annual thing. So.
She left, we were 7 years old at the time, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was, I didn't hear that just once. I heard it multiple times.
Good.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Councilman Cole?
So we had a MAC meeting last week, and we had a presentation from the city of Clive on a water resources master plan that they have developed. And so I will try to get, there was the PowerPoint of the presentation and also a couple links. Obviously, we've talked about, we have master plans for trails and master plans for lots of different things, but they've developed a master plan related to water resources. Obviously, they have, similar to us, where we have Beaver Creek, they've got, I think, Walnut Creek that runs through. And they have some issues too with like flooding, for instance. They've had several parts of they've had to do buyouts, which I don't think is an issue that we've had to deal with. But it was interesting listening to the description of the plan. There was lots of things that they were doing and implementing that we are currently doing. For instance, the tree sale, and also they've gotten very active on the soil restoration projects like we have done. And the one thing that they're doing on soil restoration is very similar to our sidewalk program, is they're doing a batch approach, where they're kind of identifying an area, and if you want to do the soil restoration, the city hires the contractor, and as a way to kind of get the best cost. And so anyway, I'll work to get some of those materials. For instance, they have their stormwater utility fee, which is significantly higher than ours. I think it might be at the high end $16. It might be 11 or 16. Either way, it's much, but they have it's a 3-level fee for their stormwater utility fee. And I think the other thing that they've done that's of some interest is for irrigation, they now charge not just one set fee for irrigation for usage. Obviously, we have for Johnston, I think we have to have a tap, you have a fee, and an actual usage, you have a fee. But they've also gone to it, more you use irrigation, the higher you pay, which I think also might be something that would be interesting to consider at some point too. So I'll get the material and information. I think Councilperson Martin, you were on the call for part of it, looked like. So there's such of interesting things, and they had very nice things to say about the other things that other communities have done in the metro, like the tree sale and others. So good example of collaboration among the metro communities, but also I think some forward-looking things that we might want to think about as well. So.
Very good. Councilmember Carr.
I'll be very brief, but first and foremost, I'm very appreciative, Mayor, for you welcoming those 3 championship teams. It's always great to see any of the kids that we can. They're so talented, and it's great. You also highlighted the coaches of the year, and I do want to publicly state that Johnston had 10 coaches of the year this last year, over 9 coaches. In other words, Coach Johnston actually won it twice, once in the fall for cross country and once for track. But it's amazing the talent of the kids we have. It's amazing the talent of the coaches. And in many of those instances, they're picked by their peers, their fellow professional coaches throughout the state who nominate them and then vote on those. So it's just amazing. We live in a really good place, and our kids are very blessed to have that educationally, academically, as you stated, as well as athletically. I also heard while we were at the ribbon cutting, so I want to make sure we give a shout out to the Johnston Robotics Club that competed nationally. They won their state competition in in April, and headed to Houston and competed there. So we're doing top-notch stuff everywhere. Green Days was awesome. Thank you for highlighting all of that. The one thing that I want to extend on Green Days is, while so many folks had to work extra shifts and other places to make sure that we were covered and we were safe, there were many folks that just continued to do their jobs so that the whole city could run as a city too, while we were throwing this great party. And so I think of Molly and the library staff, for instance. The library was open the entire time, not only throwing their sips and books type thing, but also just making sure that they had a cool and safe place for folks to congregate, as well as our police, our fire, and other folks. So thank you, everybody, for not only your extra contributions, but doing what you usually do and doing it so well and professionally. Last thing I want to highlight, and I'm not trying to steal thunder from Mike in this regard, but I did see at the end of our agenda, the next meeting is on the 5th of July. That is that Wednesday. And I know we had all kind of weighed in there, but I don't know that we had to formally announce that otherwise. So make sure y'all get it on your calendar, and make sure the public knows too that Wednesday the 5th will be our next meeting. So I suppose, as long as we vote to approve it. I yield.
Councilwoman Martin.
A couple things. The mayor allowed me to get on the 1 Million Trees Steering Committee. This is a Trees Forever group that is gathering. They've got a 3-plank proposal: plant more trees, protect more trees, and I can't remember the last one. It's probably educate people about the value of our trees. Anyway, they have sent me, Mayor, a proposed resolution. They've asked a few of us that are on the steering committee to take a look at it and see if there's anything that could be concerning to a city council to join in. They won't allow edits. So I will let you take a look at it, and if any of the rest of the city council would like to look at it too. It's basically advocating for more tree planting and recognizing the challenges we have coming with climates and heat pockets and all sorts of things. So I will send that around for people to take a look at. I'm also on the Beaver Creek Watershed Management Group, and I used to be the alternate. So if any of my city council is interested in those meetings, they're most likely have a virtual link. I find joining other city councils meetings, if possible, are pretty darn informative. Councilman Cope runs the Metro one, and it's very enlightening. So if anybody wants an extra meeting or two, those are good. I guess the only other thing I would like to do is recognize today's Juneteenth, and growing up in Newell, Iowa, cannot think when I first heard about Juneteenth, but I'm pretty sure I was in my 30s. So it's important to recognize not everybody was freed on the same date. It took several years for the enslaved people of Texas to find out about it. And while that's a sad thing, today's a happy day because they did get their freedom. So that's all I have.
Very good. We have just a few minutes left, so I'll just make sure that you're all aware of some things coming up. I saw in the chambers newsletter today that there is going to be a ribbon cutting on Friday at the Child Cancer Connection. And I wasn't aware of that, but it's at 9 o'clock on Thursday, actually, at the Children's Cancer Connection. I don't know exactly what it is, other than if it's the chamber, they're probably welcoming them in as a member of the chamber. So if you have an interest in attending that, that'll be at 9 o'clock on Thursday. Just want to make sure that you're all tracking on the fact that on Friday night, the Cork will be hosting their first summer concert series, the 90s Rock Show, and that begins at 7 o'clock and will go till, I suppose, whenever. As you know, they're all, the Cork is very excited about the concerts that they have lined up for this summer. They've gone and really pulled in some incredible talent. So I would encourage you to participate in that if you happen to be around that evening. Also want to thank all of the staff for Green Days. I thought this was probably the best ever Green Days that we've ever had. I thought the weather cooperated up until about 9 o'clock on Saturday night. But other than that, you know, it was a great time, huge turnout for the parade, which again speaks to, you know, the quality of the parade that we put on, as well as the wonderful weather that we had. But, you know, I really don't have any suggestions on how to improve it, other than keep the kids out of the trees. But, you know, it was a great event, and I heard lots of people just sharing very positive things about it. So good job to everyone who made that such a successful event. I also went to the Boy Scout Troop 44 flag retirement last week. I think it was on Tuesday night. I heard different numbers of the number of flags that they were actually retiring, somewhere between 450 and 475. But they, you know, they all did a very nice job of, you know, handling the flags appropriately, you know, throwing them on the flame, you know, carefully, even though the flame was, you know, so hot it would scorch your eyebrows. But it was just very, very well done, and you know, you just felt like those boys were really honoring and respecting the flag in the way that they were being disposed. And then, as Councilman Martin also already pointed out, today is Juneteenth, and we did deliver a proclamation to the state chair of the Juneteenth committee at Green Days on Saturday. And she was, I think this is about the 4th year that we've done that, and she was very appreciative of that. So anyway, with that, I think that is all I have before we go into the council meeting. Does anybody else have anything further? Why does our city attorney have a boot on her foot?
We're causing her too much stress.
I guess. Oh, the other thing, this was the first year I'd been invited to speak at Girls State. I'd been a guest at Boys State for about the last 10 years, but today I went over to Drake University and spoke to 200 girls at Girls State. They had just elected their mayors. And so I had an opportunity not only to talk to them about, you know, the responsibilities of being a mayor, and I talked about the city council, of course, but also got to swear in all of their new mayors. So that was fun. So they have quite a program over there. It goes all week long, and it's pretty tightly scheduled. So it's a good, both those programs, Boys State and Girls State. I've been impressed with, you know, the training and the opportunity for our young people to learn about government and the political process and all of that. So if you ever have a young person who in your family or a young person that you know that you think might benefit from that opportunity, I'd certainly encourage it. Anything else?
I have one thing. John, is there a trails meeting on Thursday? Okay.
There is or not? I think I have a conflict.
I will say that my next door neighbor son was elected city attorney, at Boy State, but I informed him that that did not qualify him to be a full-fledged attorney, so no threat to our city attorney as of yet, so.
That is the
Better get his
same
foot in the
night,
boot.
that's the same night as the DOT meeting on 141. So I may or may not be at the Trails Committee meeting.
I don't have a notice of the DOT meeting, so if somebody has that and thinks we should be participating, it'd be nice to circulate it.
Anything else? If not, we'll adjourn the work session. We'll come back in 5 minutes and have the regular council meeting.